Hi everyone, Belinda here from Visualized. I am going to first up show you the cluster strips that I was working on yesterday. So I've sewn most of them. There's 3 that I preferred just as is without being sewn. Really like this yellow one, it's quite cute. And then this one I had fun with doing like a stepped arrangement and half of a die cut there. So those ones I didn't sew, the rest of them I did. So a mixture of zigzag and straight stitch. So this you may not be able to see in camera, I'm not sure. Zigzag. And with doing these, I don't like to back stitch them, I just tie off the ends. So this one's, the back one's brought around and the front one, and I just tied in the corner of where the paper meets. And I do that with the straight stitch as well, I just tie off the ends rather than doing back stitch. And to me that means it's less likely to cause the paper to break away. And I quite like the little ends just left. So there's all these ones, I'm not going to show them one by one, just sort of give you an idea. So I made quite a few after I turned the camera off, as you can tell. And all different colours and shapes, and all these actually ended up about the same size, which is quite interesting. Normally I do them all sorts of different heights. Must have just been in this sort of a height mood yesterday. But some more lovely clusters there to use to decorate pages and pockets and journal cards and wherever else I like. So I'll pop those in my box. Okay, now this is the journal commission that I'm working on, that I wanted to do a start to finish on. In fact, I did start videoing it this morning and it was going wrong. I was making mistakes and things weren't working out, and I realized I was having trouble working on switching between centimeters and inches while I was trying to talk to you guys. And I thought that it just wasn't working for me, and it was frustrating me, and I just kept making mistake after mistake. And I thought, no, I've got to stop this, do it, and then come back and show you what I've done. So I apologize that I didn't do it on camera. I also needed to sew this, and I can't sew on camera either. So I did it up to this point where I can now hopefully do the rest on camera. So I'll explain what I've done and what it is. This is a traveler's notebook style of journal. It's very good for traveling because it's a size where you can tuck it into a pocket in a backpack or a handbag or something. Usually we don't bulk them up too much so that they retain their lightness, and because you'll add things to them as you travel, so tickets, airfare, plane tickets, receipts from things that you've bought, mementos, wrappers from something foreign that you may have eaten or purchased. So you don't want to bulk them up too much from the beginning, but we still need places to tuck things, so like tuck spots and pockets, etc. So traveler's notebook, the dimensions for a traveler's notebook are 8.5 inches by 9 inches. So if I fold this out, and I've just got a note to remind me which way round this goes. So 9 inches is the height and 8.5 inches across. So opened out it's 8.5, which makes folded means it's 4.25 inches wide. So it's a really nice tall narrow format. And for the cover I chose out a couple of scrapbooking pages. It's a thicker than paper but not heavy cardstock, but I backed them onto each other, I cut them to size, and then put some glue in the middle and a bit around the edge and put the two together and let that to dry, and then I sewed around them. So it gives it quite a nice sturdy cover. And I chose these papers out of a scrapbook paper pack that I've had for at least a year, probably 2. So they're from the same pack, so they coordinate, and with a watery theme. Traveler's notebooks are not only useful for traveling, they're useful for whatever you want to journal. You can use it as any type of journal that you like, but it just so happens that this commission is for a travel journal. The person's going to be using it for her upcoming trip, and they're going to a South Pacific island, so I'm going to have a little bit travel themed in there. I'm also going to have some tropical type themes in there, and then some other little personal touches for the recipient of this journal. So I've done the cover, and the cover's all sewn around now and ready to have the pages sewn in. And the pages is particularly where I was having the problem measuring out and getting them the right size, and it was abysmal. So I scrapped that video. So I've chosen out the pages. So the first one is a painty bit of paper. So that was from a paint pour where it was just the paper was put on top of the leftover paint to pick it up. And I thought that worked really nice with that sort of ocean islandy vibe. There's a bit of brown paper bag, which is lovely and crumpled, and it's quite thin, but it feels really nice. A bit of vintage music paper, which was quite good. Normally vintage music paper is oriented portrait, and this one was the same dimensions, but it was oriented landscape. So I was able to get it to go the right way, which is rather cool. Then there was this wrapping paper I found in my stash, which is all bright coloured flowers, which I thought was really pretty, tropical sort of feel to it. And that, I think, may have been from when I got married. So yeah, I've had it in my stash for quite a few years. Yes, as I have had a number of my things. It's good to use them. Some vintage paper, which I cut in my initial attempt at the video to the wrong size, but I'm leaving it at that because it's fine. There's a vintage map from a calendar page. There's the calendar on the back. Bit of scrapbook paper that I cut to size. Thought it was quite nice red grid. This is a digital printable of a vintage map, just cream and pale blue, so you probably can't pick up the detail in the camera because it's very pale. Some old ledger paper, a bit of this textured thick yellow paper, which I enjoy using. Another bit of wrapping paper. This one's got fish and a starfish on it, which I thought suited the theme as well. Bit of my eco-dyed paper. Another digital printable. This is a lace doily sort of background with little bits of vintage map and postmarks on top, which is just nice and neutral. An old page from a encyclopedia, which I've coffee dyed. So I've got a plan for something to go on the edge of this, which you'll see in due course. Bit of blue copy paper. And I think, no, that's the middle. Right, so that's my pages. There's 15 pages in this journal. So 15 sheets of paper. It's very confusing when you talk about pages and things because, now I want to say 15 pages, but it's 15 sheets of paper, which actually provides 60 pages of writing. So this is 1 page. This is 2 pages. So for each sheet of paper, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of writing space or decorating areas. So 15 times 4 is 60 pages, even though it's 15 sheets of paper. So it gets confusing. And I use the terms interchangeably quite often referring to pages when I'm not actually meaning pages, I'm meaning sheet of paper. So that's my signature, which is going to get sewn in. So I may as well do that now on camera. It's not long since I did one. Now I've just got to unbury my box of things here. So just bear with me for a minute. I hope you're all having a good day. It was lovely and warm the last couple of days, but today's got, oops, avalanche. Today's cold again and a bit grey and bleak. Okay, so in case you haven't seen the video where I sewed in the signature, So a needle, and I'm going to use my blue waxed thread. Since the cover's blue, that'll work really well. I haven't decided whether I'm putting book corners on or not on this one. I don't usually do it on Traveller's Notebooks, so I'll wait and see on that one. I need my awl, my clips, and yep, that's everything I need out of there for now. And I need my bit of foam. Sorry if I knocked the camera there. My head got caught up in the cord. Right, so first off, I'm going to clip these, push the pages as close into the spine as I can get. And you may have noticed too that the pages are flush with the cover in this type of journal, whereas in my other journals they are set in a bit. So this is one that typically don't add lace and things to the edges of the pages, because that adds weight if you're using it as a travel journal. And we don't want to have to pay excess baggage because our journal weighs too heavy. Although it's probably better in carry-on luggage anyway, rather than your checked baggage. Of course, if you're going by car or something, it's not such a big deal. Right, so there we go. I've pushed it as tight as I can into the spine. And I'm just going to do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So I'm just going to eyeball about where the middle is. And push down through. And then about an inch to 2, somewhere in that vicinity, at one end. So in from one end. It's, I don't know. Let's see how much I managed to bring it in. Just under 1.5, and about the same at the other end. I'm not going to bother measuring, see how far close I got to being even, because it doesn't matter. There we go, so I've punched my holes. Put that out of the way, and now I need 3 times the height of the spine in thread. So 1, 2, 3, and snip it. Now you don't have to cut it off at that point, but I like to leave plenty of cord left for stringing things on at the end, so I don't mind if there's excess. Right, so just threading my needle, and I'm using one, it's actually a, not a darning needle. It's what I use for weaving in the ends on my crochet, so it's a very big eye. Right, so in through the middle, from the inside to the outside, and pulling through and leaving a tail, a good tail, and holding it with my thumb. And then coming in the bottom one. You can do the top one or the bottom one. It doesn't matter which order you do it in, as long as you go in the center first. Okay, so pulling that tight. That's why we hold it with our thumb, so you don't pull the cord right through and have to start again. Right, now back through the middle one, trying not to catch this cord. If you split the cord with your needle, you're not going to be able to pull it tight enough. Sorry, and I'm off camera then when I was just doing that. Hopefully I wasn't off the entire time. Okay, and then down in the top one, I do apologise if that was all off camera and all you heard was just me talking. Okay, right, now pass the needle under that first one, and then you can take the cord off the needle and pull it taut. So don't pull it too tight that you're going to bend the spine, but tight enough that it's going to keep all the pages nice and secure without flopping around. And I'll just check that it's, oh, it could be a little bit tighter. So I'm just going to try undoing that little bit I just did. Oh, it's giving me trouble now. But you know, it's part of the process. So because these ones don't get as heavily decorated as the larger journals, they're slightly cheaper as well. If you're interested in this style, and I do make custom orders, so if you're interested in getting a commission either of this style or the other style, and you want a particular theme or color or something, then just get in touch, because I will happily make to your desired theme. It's a bit better. Pull that as tight as I can get it. And I haven't decided whether I'm going to put, I probably will put lace or fabric on the spine just to cover the stitching. Yep, that's better. I can feel on the back that it's tighter. So give it a couple of knots. I usually do 3, just an extra one for good measure. Make sure it's nice and secure. And the wax cord tends to stick to itself too, which is really cool. So now I've got my tails I can tie things onto. Whatever I do with them will have to be quite lightweight, because again it's going to be going international with the person to record their travels. Take my clips off, and we have a journal all put together. So I can take off my note there because I don't need that anymore. And I also need to think about a closure for that, but I'm going to decorate it first and worry about the closure last. And I think because those holes have just opened out a bit, I will put lace. And lace is a good option because it's lightweight compared to fabric, and it will just give it a nice decorative finish there. So that's Traveller's Notebook, a nude one, shall we say, because it's not decorated in any form at the moment, but it will be. I have some idea of what I'm going to do inside it, and some things I'll need to do a bit of research on and to get it to where I can give it to the person who's commissioned it. So there, if you've never come across a Traveller's Notebook style journal before, that's what it is. So I hope this was informative, that it wasn't too much of a mess and not off camera for most of it, because that would be really disappointing. So that's it for today, just that quick video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for joining me. Bye.